Hi, everybody, and welcome to the She Shines podcast. I am Sharon Holmes, and the goal of the She Shine podcast is just to empower women to embrace every single aspect of who they are. We are all different. We all have different makeups. We have different likes and dislikes, and it's time now for us not to shame ourselves for it, but to embrace it and just to be empowered to just accept ourselves for who we are. And then when we do that, we're able to find a place of balance, this beautiful balance that we can actually find ourselves doing the things that we really want to do in life, things that mean something to us. And then finally, we want to encourage you to just women everywhere to just shine. I mean, just be who you are. Once you know who you are, then you can do you without being ashamed of it, without being embarrassed by it. You, my sister, can shine. As a woman, have you ever been told that you weren't good enough? Or have you been afraid to step out of your comfort zone? There's something that you really wanted to do, but just stepping out there just terrified you. Have you ever been marginalized? Has anybody ever made you feel like you just didn't matter? What you had to offer was not good enough? Have you ever been afraid of failing? This is a big one. Have you ever been afraid of failing? You want to do something, you want to step out, but you just can't quite get there. And then I thought about that, and it really brought me to a realization that kind of changed my outlook on a lot of things that I wanted to do but couldn't muster up the courage to do. One day I was sitting down and I thought to myself, I would rather fail at trying to do something great than succeed at doing nothing. If you're like me and you face some of these questions, why don't you go on to Facebook, search for She Shines podcast group, and join in the conversation. Let me know what things you've been told that maybe made you feel a little less qualified than you need to be the woman that you actually want to be. If you're listening on YouTube, drop a note in the comments. Let me know what things that you face, what things that you've had to overcome. I want us to take this journey together. So there's this quote, and when I heard it, it just really embodied so much of what I believe and where I was at the time. It was so powerful that when I really sat and listened to it, I had to go and like Google it and find out who said this and where it came from. And it just made me so excited. So the quote is by Marianne Williamson. It's in a book called A Return to Love. And just to kind of let you know where I was kind of in a blah place in life. I mean, just really bogged down with the daily grind. I was working a job that I didn't really like. And I was like, even in my other outlets that I was involved in, the other groups that I was involved in, I didn't really feel fulfilled. It was just like there's so much more in me that people don't see. When you go to work, they tend to see the business Sharon. And when you go somewhere else, they see only that one side, and I kind of lost myself. In all of the daily grind, I found out that I lost me. And then I heard this quote, and here's what it says. It says, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure." Get this. It says, "It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us." We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? Marianne Williamson says, "Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you." Then she finishes it up like this. She says, "As we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we're liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others." Man, isn't that awesome? I mean, so much in that one single quote, and it just really addressed some of the fears that I had about getting started on projects that I wanted to do. It addressed, some of the questions that I had about myself, like who does she think she is? Why would people want to listen to her? Or just different insecurities that might pop up as you or as I go into doing something that we really want to do. And this quote, man, I was so fired up. I'm telling you, I Googled it and then I actually made a plaque of it so that I could see it. So it would remind me that I need to shine, man. I need to be everything. When I die, man, I'm dying empty. I'm giving the world every single thing that I have, because when I do that, I realize I empower somebody else to do the same thing. Man, after really thinking about this quote in depth, I realized that we've actually been taught to be mediocre. Think about it. We all want to be the norm. We want to fit in. We want to be a part of the in crowd, even from the time we're preteen all the way up through probably end of life. We want to be right on par with our peers. Do you realize that that's really life teaching you that you should be mediocre? But that's not me. I don't want to be the status quo. You don't want to be the status quo. You want to break out. You want to be great at what you do. But sometimes I found out that we give ourselves excuses. Well, Sharon, I don't make excuses. But let me ask you this. Have you ever told yourself that you were just going to keep your head down and mind your own business? Have you ever said, I want to do it, but it's a little bit too risky. I've got a family. I can't really afford to quit this job. I've got to it's just too risky. What about this? I do what I do for myself, not for others. I'm not doing this just to be seen. And then there's my personal favorite. If I do this, will people think I'm trying to be something that I'm not? These are all the things that we tell ourselves, right? Okay, so I gave you my top excuses. So I want to hear what yours are. Go to the FB group, look for She Shines Podcast, go to YouTube, leave a comment. Let me know what your excuses are. And yes, they are excuses. Let's just call them what they are, because once we admit that they are excuses, then we can give ourselves permission to drop them. That alone frees us and gives us permission to be who we were created to be. Give yourself permission to be who you really are. And who are you? You're a diamond, sweetheart. You are a diamond, girl. What do I mean by that? Think about a diamond. A diamond has so many facets. It's just not one-sided. It has so many facets, and no matter how you turn it, you see it a little bit differently, no matter how you turn it. And I found out as women, our tendency is just to pour ourselves into one thing. Maybe it's that one thing that we do great, or maybe it's the one thing that we think holds the most meaning for our lives. Maybe we have poured ourselves completely into being a mom, so much so until we forget that at the end of the day, we're still a woman and we still want to feel like a beautiful woman. Motherhood is awesome. I think that it's probably a thankless job, and it's one of the most important jobs that you can do. But if you pour yourself completely into one thing, then you don't get to cultivate the other facets of your life. And the other thing that we tend to do as women is that we focus on our flaws. And any diamond that you look at, most of the time, there is a flaw, whether you can see it visibly with the eye or whether you have to magnify it in order to see it. And so many times as women, we focus on our flaws. Things that, well, I guess in the diamond world, if you're in the jewelry world, it's called an inclusion. That's what they call a flaw in a diamond. Think about the things that we've included in our stories about ourselves. Think about the things that we've allowed other people to include in our stories. Oh, she won't ever be anything. She's just like her mother. Oh, you can't do that. You're from the wrong neighborhood. You're from the other side of the tracks. The things that we allow people to include in our story that then become embraced as flaws. Man, there's so many things that we give our attention to that keep us from giving our attention to the other facets of ourselves. But I have news for you today, and actually is pretty great news. The news is that even a flawed diamond has value, okay? So it doesn't matter if we have flaws, and all of us do have them. But just remember that that does not affect the fact that you are valuable as a woman, as a person. And when I think about diamonds, I think about this. It's really not the size of the rock. It could be big or small. If you clean it, if you polish it, if you give it the right lighting, it will shine. And so sometimes we look at ourselves and we say, hey, my gift is not as big as her gift, or my personality is not as big as his, or I'm kind of shy and I don't really know how to handle myself in front of people, or I'm not super smart, I'm just average, I was a C student. We look at those things and we tend to minimize ourselves. But I want you to know, if you could just wash it off a little bit. Rinse off those layers of filth and grime that have been added to our story that tend to bog us down. If you can do that and you can find your light, baby, you can shine, baby girl. We can do this thing, but we have to understand that there's so much more to us. Just like the diamond, there's so much more to us than meets the eye. If you look at me only through one lens, you're missing out on the best parts of me. Not just me, but you. I want to see you shine. So I want to challenge you today, like right now, today. Yes, girl, I'm calling you out. I want you to really think about this. And then I want you to drop me a comment. Tell me, what are your different facets? Like, what are the parts of you that everybody sees? And then tell me the parts that everybody doesn't see. Oh, they see that I am, really great at business, but they don't know that I really can sing. Like, I can blow, like I'm like Whitney Houston without the contract, Let me know what those things are for you. Go to the Facebook group, She Shines Podcast, or go to the YouTube comments, She Shines Podcast on YouTube. Go to the comments and let me know, what are your different facets? Tell me what things that you've learned to embrace about yourself. What about those flaws that I talked about, those inclusions that have been included? How have you learned to embrace, the ones that need to be embraced? How have you learned how to, just drop the ones that shouldn't be there? And then tell me, how you found your light. Just because we're all, in our separate walks of life doesn't mean that we can't learn from each other. And so when you drop that comment, you're not only telling me what you're thinking, but you're helping somebody else. And so let me know what you think about those things. So why are you harping on this, Sharon? Why is it so important that we learn how to shine? Why is it so important that we realize that we're diamonds? It's because somebody, believe it or not, is waiting for you to shine. Somebody needs to see you shine. Somebody needs to see you be great. Who is that? Is it your future husband? Is he waiting to see you shine so he can come and put a ring on it? Is it your kids? So many of us have little ones who are looking up to us. They need to see you do what you do so well that it raises the bar on what they need to become. Is it your sisters? And I don't just mean blood or biological sisters, but what about the little sisters who are in our neighborhoods who need to see us doing our thing? Is it your friends? Is it that your group would elevate if you elevated? Somebody needs to see you shine. Is it a person that needs the invention that you wrote in a notebook and put in a desk drawer 3 years ago? Maybe that's the invention that they need today. They need you to shine so they can use that thing. Or here's my personal favorite. Is it the person that you were meant to help? Do you need to shine for the person that you were meant to breathe life into? Somebody is waiting to hear from you. Somebody is waiting to see you. No. Time is past for sitting on our laurels. It's time now that we get up and show who we really are. Show what purpose we were put here for. It's time. Girl, it's past. It was time last week for you to shine. It was time for you to shine last week. And so now the only thing that's left for us to do is just do it. Just like Nike says, just do it. So to you, my little sister, who might be dealing with self-esteem issues, who might feel that you don't have enough experience. Maybe you've made some bad decisions. All of that is okay. That makes you who you are. But I'm telling you, it's time to turn your light on. It is time to shine, girl. And to you, my big sister, maybe you used to have big dreams and big plans and big hopes, and somehow time has slowed you down and it didn't happen quite in the timing that you expected it to happen. And so now it seems a little bit late for you, and it seems like time has tried to dim down your light. Don't believe that it's somebody else's time. It's all about the millennials, you tell yourself. But guess what? It's time for you to shine even brighter. It is never don't you turn out the light on your dream, and don't you let anyone else turn out the light on your dream. Big sister, it is time for you to shine brighter. And to you, my sister, who has already found your light and you're shining like the sun, you're living your dream. All I have to say to you is shine on, girl. You showing us how to do it. You're paving the way for so many people that you may not even know their names, but you're the light. You're the light that lights the path that they're going to follow. So don't let anyone dull your sparkle. Wow, I feel like we've covered so much today in this one podcast. Remember, you're listening to She Shines Podcast, where our goal is always to empower you to embrace every aspect of who you are, to help you to find a beautiful balance for your life, and to encourage you above all to shine. I'm your host, Sharon Holmes, and until next time, shine on, girl. Come on now.